Living alone at 65 isn't quite what I imagined back when I was younger. I used to picture peace, freedom, doing whatever I wanted. And yes, that's part of it. But I'll be honest with you. There are mornings when the quiet feels too quiet. You pour your coffee, glance around the empty room, and it hits you. It's just you now. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to feel sad. It can actually be one of the best parts of your life if you shape it right. In fact, I've learned that the way you start your morning, that first hour after you wake up, can completely change how your whole day feels. So today, I want to take you through my morning routine, living alone at 65. The small things I do that keep me happy, independent, and genuinely looking forward to each day. I'm not talking about fancy stuff or Instagram-perfect routines, just real, practical things that work. Some of them might even make you laugh, but trust me, they make a difference. So grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and let's start the morning together. Number 1. I wake up with purpose, not an alarm clock. Here's the thing about alarms. They're rude. No one wants to start their day being yelled at by a machine. For decades, I had that blaring beep ripping me out of sleep at 5:30 a.m., and I swear I still flinch when I hear one in a movie. So when I started living alone, I decided to let my body call the shots. Now, I wake up naturally around the same time every day, between 6:30 and 7, without a single beep. It didn't happen overnight, but after a few weeks of sticking to a steady sleep schedule, my body figured it out. The trick is not staying up till 2 a.m. watching documentaries about UFOs or the royal family. Guilty on both counts. But here's the real secret. Purpose. When you live alone, it's dangerously easy to lose that sense of why bother. No one's waiting for you in the kitchen or calling you to breakfast. That's why I make sure I have something, even something small, to look forward to each morning. Sometimes it's feeding the birds outside. They know me now. I'm the seed guy. Sometimes it's my morning walk, or just the thought of that first sip of coffee. Having that tiny spark of anticipation gets me out of bed without dragging my feet. A widower I talked to online said he keeps a small notebook on his nightstand titled Reasons to Get Up. Each night before bed, he writes down one thing he's excited for tomorrow. Could be call my grandson or make pancakes. It sounds simple, but I tried it, and it works. You'd be surprised how powerful a little bit of purpose can be at our age, because when you wake up with intention, you stop just existing through your mornings and start living them again. 2. I start with movement, not my phone. I used to grab my phone the second I woke up. Before my feet even hit the floor, I was knee-deep in bad news, celebrity drama, and that one friend's vacation photos that made me question my life choices. By the time I'd finished scrolling, I was already anxious, and I hadn't even brushed my teeth. Now I have a rule. I don't touch my phone until I've moved my body. It doesn't have to be a big, sweaty workout. Let's be honest. My gym is my hallway. I just do something to wake up my muscles and joints. I call it maintenance mode. Some mornings I stretch in bed, arms over the head, a good twist left and right. Other mornings I'll walk to the end of my driveway and back just to feel the morning air. A retired truck driver I follow on YouTube calls his routine rust removal. He says if he doesn't loosen up his shoulders first thing, he creaks louder than his old rig. I felt that. Here's what I've noticed. When I start with movement, my energy levels are completely different. My mood's better. I stand taller. And weirdly enough, I think clearer. It's like telling my brain, hey, we're doing this day on purpose. If you want something even gentler, try what one woman does. She plays one song each morning and moves to it. Sometimes she stretches, sometimes she dances. Her rule is, the body must move before the mind starts thinking. Brilliant! So yeah, I traded my morning scroll for a morning stretch, and now I feel like I start my day with myself, not with 1,000 strangers shouting into a phone screen. 3. I make my coffee a ritual, not a rush. Now this one's sacred to me. I used to treat coffee like gasoline, something to chug before running off. But these days, it's a full-on ritual. I don't just make coffee, I experience coffee. I grind my beans fresh. Yes, I became that person. And I listen to the quiet sound of it filling the kitchen. I boil the water slowly. The smell fills the room. By the time I sit down to take that first sip, it feels like a small celebration. You might laugh, but that small ritual sets the mood for my entire day. When you live alone, your routines become your company. So, I treat that morning cup like I'm having coffee with an old friend, myself. Sometimes I'll sit by the window and watch the neighborhood wake up. Other days, I journal while I sip. Just a few thoughts, nothing deep. Maybe something I'm grateful for, or a silly memory that popped into my head. One woman online said she writes down 3 good things each morning, even tiny ones like, the coffee smells good, or the sun came out. I tried that, and it's amazing how it rewires your attitude. And here's a funny little thing. I stopped multitasking during coffee. No phone, no news, no chores. Just me and my mug. You'd be amazed how peaceful a few quiet minutes can be when you're not fighting the noise of the world. I've heard other seniors do their own version of this. Tea rituals, smoothie rituals, even morning toast ceremonies. One guy online said he butters his toast like he's painting a masterpiece. It sounds ridiculous, but he said, "It's the only time of day I feel like an artist." And honestly, I get it. These small acts remind you that life doesn't have to be rushed to be meaningful. So my advice? Don't just make coffee. Make it an event. Put some care into it. Sit with it. Taste it. Because when you start your day with that kind of calm appreciation, the rest of the day feels less like something you have to survive, and more like something you get to enjoy. 4. I eat a real breakfast, not just toast and regret. You know what I used to call breakfast? A cup of coffee and a slice of toast if I was feeling fancy. Sometimes I'd even skip it altogether and wonder why I felt like a zombie by 10 a.m. I'd tell myself, I'm just not hungry in the morning. Truth was, I was just lazy. Then one day I saw this comment on a senior living forum that stuck with me. A woman wrote, "You can't pour from an empty tank, even if you're the only one driving." That hit home. I realized my mornings were half-hearted because I was running on fumes, so I started taking breakfast seriously. And let me tell you, it doesn't need to be complicated. Most mornings I make oatmeal. Real oatmeal, not the instant stuff that tastes like wet cardboard. I toss in some chopped nuts, a few berries, maybe a drizzle of honey if I'm feeling like a rebel. Other days, it's scrambled eggs with spinach or avocado toast, because apparently I'm a millennial now. The point isn't what you eat, it's the care you put into it. I even set the table for one. Plate, napkin, maybe a little fruit bowl. Why not? Living alone doesn't mean your meal should look sad. You deserve to enjoy it. I know a senior gentleman who preps his breakfast at night. Oats in a jar, fruit sliced, coffee pot ready. He said it makes his mornings feel set up for success. I tried it. And he's right. There's something oddly satisfying about waking up to a kitchen that's already rooting for you. Lately, I've actually been working my way through a list of 50 easy soup recipes. Simple, hearty ones that don't need fancy ingredients or hours in the kitchen. There's something about a warm bowl of soup that just feels like a hug on a quiet morning. If you want to try them too, I've shared the link in the pinned comment below. And I'll tell you what. When I sit down to that warm meal, I feel taken care of. Not by anyone else, but by me. That's what independence looks like at 65, taking small, kind actions for yourself every single morning. 5. I play background music, not background news. I used to flip on the news first thing every morning. Big mistake. Within 10 minutes, I'd be shaking my head, muttering, "What's the world coming to?" And suddenly my blood pressure was higher than my thermostat. Now I start my mornings with music, and the whole day feels different. Some mornings I play smooth jazz, others it's a bit of old country or some 70s soul. And sometimes when I really need to wake up, I'll blast Elvis like it's 1959 again. Sorry to my neighbors, but I'm pretty sure they secretly enjoy it. Music does something that news never can. It sets the emotional temperature of your home. When you live alone, silence can start to feel heavy, like the walls are listening. But when there's a little melody floating through the air, the house feels alive again. One retired teacher calls it her happy noise. She said she puts on old sitcom reruns in the background just to hear laughter in the room. I thought that was beautiful, and it's true. Sound affects how we feel, even when we're not consciously listening. Personally, I built a few playlists for my mornings. Coffee and Calm, Shower Groove, and my personal favorite, Laundry Disco. Yes, that's real. Music keeps me moving, keeps me smiling, and sometimes, I'll admit, it even gets me dancing in the kitchen with a spatula as my microphone. And honestly, that's the joy of living alone. No one's around to judge your moves. So go ahead and dance like your grandkids aren't filming you for TikTok. 6. I keep my space fresh and moving. I once heard someone say, "Your home reflects your mind." At first I brushed it off, until I noticed that whenever my space got cluttered, my thoughts did too. When the dishes piled up, my energy tanked. When the blinds stayed closed, the day felt dull. So now, keeping my space fresh is part of my morning routine. Not because I love cleaning, I don't, but because it keeps me mentally and emotionally tuned in. First thing I do after I get up is make my bed. Always. Doesn't matter if it's just me. That one small act makes the whole room look put together, and honestly, it's the easiest win of the day. If I've accomplished nothing else, at least the bed looks like my life's in order. Then I open the windows, even if it's cold. There's something about that rush of fresh air that just wakes the place up, like hitting a reset button. I water my plants, wipe the counters, maybe light a candle if I'm feeling classy. One guy said, "When I live alone and let the house go, my spirit goes with it." I couldn't agree more. That's why I make it a point to keep things moving, even if it's just rearranging a shelf or putting on laundry. Movement in the home keeps the energy alive. I've also started doing one micro-tidy task each morning. Could be sweeping, decluttering a drawer, or dusting the bookshelf. It's small, but over time it keeps the place running smooth without feeling like a chore. And here's a little thing I didn't expect. When your space is clean and bright, you start wanting to do more. You cook more, read more, even think clearer. You feel capable again. When I look around and see sunlight coming through clean windows, a made bed, and a bit of order, it's like the house is saying, "You've still got it." And that's a feeling I wouldn't trade for anything. 7. I do one thing that challenges my mind. Here's a truth I learned the hard way. The body slows down, but the brain doesn't have to. It just needs exercise, same as your knees. If you don't give it a little workout every day, it starts to wander off and nap before lunch. So I make it a point to challenge my mind every single morning. It doesn't have to be something grand. I'm not trying to learn quantum physics here. I'd need another lifetime for that. But I do something that makes my brain spark. Some mornings it's the crossword puzzle in the paper, which, by the way, can make you feel both brilliant and foolish in the same 10 minutes. Other mornings it's reading a few pages of a new book or watching a short documentary about something I know nothing about. Like one morning, I watched a video about how bees communicate. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there talking to the bees outside like we're old pals. There's a retired musician I follow on YouTube who takes 10 minutes each morning to learn one new chord on his guitar. He says it makes him feel like his brain's still growing, not shrinking. I love that. So now, every few days, I try to learn something new, whether it's a word in Italian or a shortcut on my laptop that I somehow didn't know after 20 years. It's not really about the skill. It's about keeping that sense of curiosity alive. Because curiosity is what keeps us young, even when our knees loudly disagree. 8. I talk to someone, even briefly. I don't care how independent you are. Humans need connection like they need oxygen. When you live alone, the silence can sneak up on you. One quiet morning turns into 3, and before you know it, you've gone a week without saying more than thank you to the grocery clerk. That's why I make sure to talk to someone every morning. Doesn't have to be deep. Could be a quick call to a friend, a neighborly wave, or even a casual chat with the mailman about the weather, which, by the way, becomes a surprisingly fascinating topic after 60. I've got a few buddies from my old job who also live alone, and we've got this thing. We send each other quick, check-in texts in the morning. Usually something ridiculous like, "Still alive?" And the reply is, "Barely, but coffee's helping." It's silly, but it's enough to remind each other that we're still in the game. A widow I came across on a senior support forum said she makes a point to compliment at least one person every morning, even if it's just online. She said it makes her feel part of the world, not apart from it. That's brilliant. Connection doesn't always mean a full conversation. Sometimes it's just reminding someone, and yourself, that you exist in a shared world. The key is to reach out before the day drifts away. Because when you live alone, you can't wait for connection to knock on your door. Sometimes you've got to be the one who knocks. 9. I give my day a theme. This one might sound funny at first, but it's been one of the best things I've ever done for my sanity. Instead of rigid schedules or endless to-do lists, which I never followed anyway, I give each day a simple theme. Monday is my chores and coffee day. Tuesday is try something new. Wednesday is errand adventure. Thursdays are quiet days, and Fridays? Fun Fridays. That's the day I'll treat myself to a little outing. Maybe breakfast at the diner or a movie at home with popcorn that's definitely too salty. The beauty of this approach is that it gives structure without pressure. You wake up with a general direction instead of a strict plan, and at our age, that's perfect. You don't need to rush or achieve anymore, you just need flow. Sometimes I'll even write the theme on a sticky note and stick it on the fridge just to remind myself. Like, today's about creativity, or today's about reconnecting. It helps me live the day with intention instead of just drifting through it. A while back, I also started using a digital daily planner to map out my week the same way. Nothing complicated, just a simple way to keep that rhythm going. It's made a big difference in how grounded I feel. You can find the one I use in the pinned comment below. And let's be honest, naming your days gives them personality. It's like giving each one a little flavor. Saturdays might taste like pancakes and slow mornings. Sundays like reflection and soft music. It makes life feel textured again. 10. I end my morning with gratitude, not hurry. This one's simple but powerful. I refuse to rush my mornings. For years, I treated mornings like something to get through. Now I see them as something to enjoy. Before I dive into my day, errands, walks, whatever, I take a quiet moment just to appreciate where I'm at. I'll look out the window, feel the sun on my face, or listen to the birds. Sometimes I just say out loud, "Thank you for another day." It's not about being overly spiritual. It's about being aware. You hit a certain age and realize how many mornings you used to take for granted. The truth is, every new day is a privilege not everyone gets. One man said he ends every morning by writing down one sentence that starts with, "I'm grateful that..." He said it's rewired how he sees his life. I started doing it too. Some mornings it's deep. I'm grateful I still have my health. Other days it's silly. I'm grateful for that leftover apple pie. But it works. It's funny. The world keeps telling us to chase more, to do more, to be more. But I've found that peace at this stage of life comes from slowing down enough to see what's already good. And when you end your morning with that little moment of gratitude, not a rush to get somewhere, not stress, it softens the whole day. You walk out the door, or stay in, let's be real, already grounded, already content. Because happiness at this age doesn't come from big things anymore. It comes from a series of small, peaceful moments, a good song, a warm meal, a quick chat, and the quiet pride of knowing you built a life that still feels full, even when it's just you. You know, people think happiness after 60 comes from big changes, moving somewhere new, finding someone new, starting some grand project. But I found it's really the little things that make the biggest difference. Waking up with purpose, moving your body before you grab your phone, making that cup of coffee slowly, like it matters. When you live alone, those small routines become your anchors. They keep you grounded, remind you who you are, and help you fall in love with life again, just at a gentler pace. Some mornings are quiet, sure, but quiet can be good. Quiet means peace. Quiet means you're still here, still writing your own story. If this video resonated with you, give it a like. It helps more people like us find it. And if you want more stories and simple routines that make solo living feel fulfilling instead of lonely, hit that subscribe button and join me here. Because even at 65, or 75, or 85, we can still wake up with purpose, with gratitude, and maybe even with a little smile that says, "Life's still pretty good."